I'm Nightmare Freddy and I'm in your head. I'm Nightmare Freddy and I'm in your bed. Anyways, FNAF fan games are everywhere, and I mean everywhere. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Whether it's recreations of the original FNAF games with their own unique spin on the games, or ones that are completely different from the originals, they all have their own spooky take on FNAF. But of all the FNAF fan games that are out there lies an outlier to these, and one that pretty much everyone knows at this point, and it's the cursed Five Nights at Freddy's ransomware games. They are everywhere. These horrifying and uncanny versions of the original games that depict themselves as these disturbing and almost analog horror style games, where almost nothing seems either finished or almost feels broken. All of it is done intentionally though. But out of all of these out there was one series of these games that I found that stuck out to me, and no one seems to be talking about them. The person who made them is Java's Games, and they made what is essentially their own trilogy of cursed and completely insane versions of the first 3 Five Nights at Freddy's games. And today I'm going to be delving into these. And another reminder that I put out a community post that if I hit 100k subscribers by the end of the year, I would get the "He Ate Them" thumbnail tattooed on me. So subscribe if you want to see that happen. Anyways, continuing on with these games. Let's start off with Five Nights at Freddy's Free Edition, which this one is by far the most popular with Eamon playing the game. The game starts off with a warning screen for possible jump scares, which obviously you can't really read the text unless you squint your eyes, and when getting to the home screen you are greeted by this. Freddy smiling at you with this horribly creepy face. He does not look friendly whatsoever, and if you look closely you can see what looks like eyes inside his mouth. And the style of this game heavily resembles that of the Walton Files. Accompanying this is the most ear-piercing static you will ever hear in your entire life. But moving on, we have 2 choices being play and continue. We'll go ahead and press play, which when hovering over it, it changes to run. But if you do hover over continue, it says oddly body ? Very peculiar. Starting the game, we are greeted by a loading screen of a bunch of kids heavily distorted and in black and white. They almost look like a bunch of kids in karate outfits or taekwondo or something. But to say it's an odd image is putting it lightly. But finally, we reach the actual game, and it's not right. We are greeted by the usual FNAF 1 office, but everything is just barely visible with this heavily distorted filter over it. Oh, and you can also not use the doors, so we are probably cooked. But something is already off about this office, if you couldn't tell, with what looks like some type of animatronic mask already under the desk for some reason. But then again, I can barely make out what's there. We also get a phone call, and it sounds like this. And obviously it's very muffled, and almost screaming like in the audio from the phone call. It's definitely the most haunting thing about this game so far. Okay, let's go ahead and check the camera system, and oh, you can only use 1 camera. But hey, at least the whole cast is there and they seem relatively normal. But yeah, flipping through the other one does absolutely nothing, so that's fun. Very soon into the night though, when you open the camera, every single animatronic has disappeared from the main stage. I'm gonna literally freak out. This is a little weird. Well, it's 12 AM, the animatronics must be going easy on me. Yeah, okay, yeah. If you couldn't tell by now, there was absolutely no way to survive the night, and that's not the point. It's this heavily corrupted FNAF game that is designed to freak you the hell out, and honestly, it's working. The design of the Chica is just awful to look at, and it literally looks like her face is melting off, and the small eyes and human teeth is just terrifying. But following this, we are greeted with this screen, and the text, "Good job," is presented to us, because I guess us dying a horrible death was a good thing. But what's most interesting is this set of 3 images, and let's just go over these one by one. First, we have Chica just looking horrible again, staring and looking down at a baby in her lap, in which, well, that baby does not look happy to be there. Then we have what I would consider the most horrifying image from this set, and it's Bonnie smiling and sitting next to this heavily distorted girl. And something about this is just so uncanny. Bonnie looks nothing like an animatronic anymore, he's just wearing this evil grin on his face. I literally hate this image so much, it's just so weird and disturbing. Then the last one is Foxy, which almost has no face practically, and looks like there are X's over his eyes for some reason. And his hook is raised, and the kid he's next to looks, well, not happy to be there in the slightest again. But as the screen stays on for a while, we can see something at the top start to form. It looks like the Walton Files rabbit, but honestly this would most likely be Springtrap due to the yellowish greenish color. And as you can hear his laughter before it cuts off when we are taken to the next part of the game. A mini game where we have to feed cupcakes to these.
Holy fish paste, what is that?
These distorted and eyeless faces. We have to feed all 6 of them a bunch of cupcakes, which is usual FNAF minigame stuff. But once we do, something shows up on screen at the top left corner. A white square in the text, "Go, go, go." Hopefully we're going somewhere nice and pleasant. Oh, it's another minigame. And these totally normal looking kids. What am I even doing here? Well, in this minigame, we have the ability to access 3 different endings depending on what we do. Let's start with the first one. We jump over the platforms as we feed the kids before reaching a red lever. And then this glitch block shows up at the bottom of the screen and we are greeted by this if we touch it. And I have no idea what that image was, but it looks like Freddy, and we hear a lot of loud noise. It also seems like there's just a lot of blood on him or something of that sort. It's really hard to tell. We will just call that the glitched ending. Let's go to ending 2. With this one, we end up going instead of the glitch block after the lever, we touch this platform at the end, and yeah, we are greeted by, well, Golden Freddy, and our whole screen turns red. We can see him standing there with a present before being jump scared by this thing, and I have no idea who this is. He definitely is a weird fella to say at the least. And of course, we are greeted by an anti-piracy screen, in which it asks if we are stealing. With this game's whole vibe feeling less like a malware FNAF and more like an anti-piracy FNAF game, especially with this screen. Okay, on to the secret and final ending of this game. With us this time hitting the lever and going all the way back to the left side of the area, and well, jumping off and getting the least scary and best ending. With us just standing around with the game, aka Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy, with the text Finn at the top. But if you close the game while on the screen, we are presented by something at the last minute. This. The marionette and his face appear for just a split second. So that was the Five Nights Free Edition. Honestly, one of the most horrifying depictions of the original Five Nights at Freddy's game. And I like that the game isn't really a virus game, like all the others, but more like an anti-piracy version of FNAF 1 that makes players regret trying to get their hands on FNAF for free. It almost makes you feel like it's made by Scott Cawthon himself as a troll to people who try to steal FNAF. I don't know if you'd actually do that, but it's funny to imagine if that was the case. But moving on to the next game by Java's Games. FNAF 2 Stingray, which is also called Stingray Edition, is this creator's take on the FNAF creepypasta, aka a story in which people would download this version of FNAF 2 that turned out to be a virus and would mainly occur on Android phones, and would apparently be deadly and cursed, and yeah, none of it is real. but what is real is the version that was created by Javas, and to say it's horrifying is an understatement. This game starts off with a screen that is, well, this. You can kind of make out the animatronics in this, with one of the ones in there seeming like Toy Chica, but they obviously look very, very wrong. With this big, wide open mouth and just a whole bunch of teeth. But the game has a whole lot of, I don't know what language this is, but yeah. This mainly seeming to hammer in the fact that this is a not real version of FNAF 2. But starting the game, you get put into the FNAF 2 office. But something is going wrong again. You see these stretched out and compressed buttons for computer and mask. The office also has this giant red, eyeball? Sure, in the middle of the office. Because, you know, you gotta make sure someone keeps an eye on you while you're working. And the most obvious weird thing being the marionette just chilling and standing in the corner, instead of having to wind up his music box. What a fun, silly little guy. We love him. This game also starts off with a phone call, which is kind of unintelligible. But I'll let you guys listen anyways.
Hello, I'm a Stingray. I'm surprised that no one's played it. In that case, I want to introduce myself as a player. I want to see your chance to smile. This is getting fun. Goodbye.
Back to the mechanics. We have a mask that instead of being a normal FNAF 2 mask, it's a mask that if you wear for too long, you will die because of this toxic meter in the top left-hand corner, in which you will give yourself carbon monoxide poisoning. Woohoo! This computer has 3 cameras: the basement, the show stage, and the main hallway. And we get to see some really not so fun things in these cameras, like this guy. Who he is, I don't know, but he sure is evil looking. But shortly into my first time playing this game, I was greeted by Toy Chica. Yeah, she is just a giant mouth with sharp teeth, which scared the heck out of me because apparently the only way you're supposed to stop her is if you shine a light on her. But the most creepy of all was following this and the game over screen. It's this dark red image with some things I don't even know what I'm looking at. But you can obviously see some horrifying smiling thing behind this mummy, dead body looking thing screaming. And the screen says game over, and you fell asleep. Which, yeah, I am not falling asleep after playing this. But you have the option from here to either admit defeat or say no. But if you keep pressing no over and over again, if you keep dying, you will run out of these lives, and if you run out of these lives, you cannot play the game anymore. Unless you close it and reopen it, of course. There's also a couple of other animatronics, but there's Mangle, which looks like this. I'm not gonna try and explain that, but you have to put on your mask for her as well. And there's Old Chica, which requires you to put on your mask for her too. And you have to listen to see if she's inside the vents, because if you don't, she will get you. Toy Freddy is a really annoying one. He will continuously ask you questions that you have to get correct, or he will kill you. And they pop up on screen quite a bit. And Old Freddy apparently, which looks like this guy, he wears this human mask over his face, which is haunting to see. And the idea of it seems to be that he's trying to pretend to be human so we don't think it's an animatronic, similar to what we, the player, are doing. Which, honestly, thinking about it is kind of funny, but actually seeing it is so terrifying. But going through the entire night will end up with us getting this screen with more text that I couldn't tell you what it says on screen, followed up by this. So honestly, this was a horrifying take on the Stingray game, which is already scary from the Vibing Leaf video, but actually playing it is quite the experience. So in conclusion with this one, the final game is called SpringDoe.apk, which is the shortest one and for me the most confusing. Let me explain. This game is a mobile game made for Android. The game's loading screen shows this image with this, well, balloon boy, but obviously something is wrong with him. Behind him is this uncanny spring trap. When loading into the game's home screen, you are greeted by SpringDoe himself, which shows him with no eyes and just something's not right with him. When tapping, we are greeted by a second loading screen. It has Chica in it, and she looks, how do I put this? Burnt and a bit melted except for this blinding white bib she is wearing. It honestly looks like someone took her into Photoshop and just smushed her face a little bit. We are presented with one more screen. It's a phone that's ringing. And we see the top and it says, "You are banned in the house of SpringDoe. Your task is to find a way out." The phone call itself is unintelligible, sounding like this. Getting into the actual game, we are put in a room and we can tell immediately that this is the FNAF 3 location. Standing in front of us is Balloon Boy, looking as cheerful as ever. Clicking ahead, we are put in the hallway, but if you wait a couple seconds, SpringDoe will pop up. He has no bottom half and just levitates there and waits. It's very eerie. It's really weird how he just doesn't attack you, and I don't know if this was intentional, but it's completely odd. Moving forward in the hallway and waiting too long, we will see this. And to say that was the most ear-piercing noise and jump scare ever, I literally had to turn that down for everyone watching. But if we survive all that and just click ahead, we can reach the exit. And you find that it's all boarded up. And if you wait, then you get this. And you learn that there really is no escape from SpringDoe. And trust me, I could not find a way out of this. I don't think you're supposed to. SpringDoe is just a simple, short experience for anyone who wants to play it on their phones, I guess. But I played it on computer. But for some reason, the SpringDoe character just seems so creepy to me and honestly odd. I would love to see a full-length actual FNAF game made by this person of this character. And honestly, more lore on SpringDoe himself. But it's a short and absolutely unnerving game. And rest in peace to the little 5-year-old that downloaded this on a whim and probably got jump scared so bad they never played FNAF again. And that was all of the games. I really did like all of Java's games. And we went through 3 of his FNAF games and you should check them all out. I will link them all in the description for you guys to check out and let me know if you find your own secrets in these games as well. Java's also has a lot of other games on GameJolt, so make sure to also check those out and let me know what you guys think. These games were just such an uncanny and bizarre way of playing Five Nights at Freddy's, and I really enjoyed them even though they were so terrifying. This eerie and cursed vibe that makes the games feel like they came straight out of a creepypasta or an urban legend is refreshing. But thank you guys for watching, and let me know in the comments what you guys thought about all these games. And yeah, that's about it for now. I will see y'all next time.
I have made a series of very bad decisions, and I cannot make another one.
Why did you make these decisions?
Freeze.